Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk More on Monday. I am your podcast host, Chloe, and we are continuing our Issue 9 Identity Contributor series. So I am joined once again by a lovely contributor that wrote an article for Issue 9 Identity that turned into a wonderful magazine. We're very excited for those to get into the hands of our readers and for you guys to see how your work has fleshed out in the physical medium. So, welcome to Andee. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Chloe. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're always excited to talk to contributors and get to know what the process for you was like and how you ended up on the show in the first place. So, we'll get right into it. You wrote an article called The Tao of Sobriety. And I really enjoyed your piece and learning more about your business. We're very excited to host the pre-launch happy hour. As of this recording, it has not happened yet. So when you listen to this, it will probably have already happened and everyone's already had a great time. But at the time of this recording, we are still super excited for that to happen. So yeah, I mean, you are already pretty involved with more, but what was it like for you to write this article for issue 9?
That's a great question. And I love to talk business. I love to talk behind the scenes, but talking about my sobriety is something that I have always shied away from. And I've kind of avoided the answer. I don't always know what to say when I'm put on the spot, I think,
Right.
because it's personal and it's vulnerable. But my sister and I decided recently that it's important to share because you just don't know who's listening and it could be helpful. And now I feel like I'm so comfortable with it. It's much easier to talk about. And I really enjoyed writing this article is because I really enjoyed writing this article because I was able to write it and think about kind of how far I've come and kind of just really think about identity and the cross section of identity and alcohol. And I think just in this medium made it really pleasurable and fun.
Yeah, I think that really comes through, and that's something that we hear a lot is people end up kind of, I don't know, thinking more about themselves, like doing a lot of self-reflection as they write,
Yes.
which is excellent. Self-reflection is always a good thing. So, I feel like I'm gonna jump ahead in my questions a little bit because of what you said about your identity tied into alcohol. You talked about, restructuring the idea in your mind of like, what does fun mean? What does
Yeah.
socializing mean? Like these social events that you had coming up would often be like a trigger for anxiety. So, what was it like for you to kind of restructure that in your mind?
Gosh, it's almost kind of like you've got to step away from it to be able to look back and kind of question what your definitions were. Even thinking about the idea of fun, I think when I was drinking, I used to think it was saying something really clever or doing something kind of risky or staying out late. It's like, oh, we did this and we did this, and here's this great story, and we did something kind of adventurous. When really, I think the frame of mind where I think of fun now is maybe it's going to grad school or maybe it's going to a networking event. And that doesn't sound, I know that that doesn't sound more fun, I guess, but also just trying new things, challenging yourself to do new things and to be new things and to live your life a little bigger is a much broader sense of fun, I guess. And so just kind of comparing how closed, just how narrow my view of things were before and how much broader I experienced like the full spectrum of emotions and life and fun, and then the clarity that comes with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, literal clarity,
Literally,
right? Like in
yes.
your mind, in your soul.
Truly, truly. It's been transformative. And that wasn't what I was thinking when I stopped. I wasn't like, oh, all of these things are going to happen. I knew that at the time it wasn't serving me. And I knew that it was time to let it go. And I had known that for a while and I had tried for a while and it did take a while. And then when it did, slowly gaining that clarity and that energy and that joie de vivre and having that all come kind of as a secondary sort of surprise was the coolest thing that I think has ever happened to me, honestly.
I love that. Um, you mentioned at the beginning that, sometimes it's hard to talk about, like, there's, I don't know, maybe some embarrassment around the topic and people are going to ask the wrong questions, right? Like there's also some ignorance about it as well. So, what was your experience like, kind of overcoming that and deciding, I do want to talk about this. Like, what if there's somebody else out there that's on this exact same journey that would hear my story and feel more empowered to make the same steps?
Yeah, there's sort of 2 experiences that I can think of. The first was in my head, I had so many scenarios of what I thought was gonna happen when I went out, and 0 of them happened. Conversations that I was, like, pumping myself up to answer or to, like, fight back or, like, to be strong about. N nothing happened, nobody questioned me, but working in the shop, I hear different things all the time, and alcohol is one of those funny things where other people are uncomfortable if you're not drinking, or people will say, "My friends are gonna say you're not gonna be as fun," or you just hear silly things that people say, and it kind of breaks your heart. Those were the scenarios that I was thinking of happening, and it does happen, and just, um it's especially interesting in the concept of identity as far as you going through a solitary journey, finding this clarity and breaking up with alcohol versus the people that you surround yourself with and their reaction to it too. So it's a lot of things to unpack and to sort of think about and work through. Um, and I think I'm straying away from the question that you asked, but, eventually and I'm a very shy person, and I'm a very introverted person, but I love to network. It's like I maybe I'm like an ambivert where it's like, if I'm at home too long, then I miss going out and seeing people. And
Sure.
finally, I missed people enough, I think, where I went out. And at first, the thing that I did the most was, like, my really good friends that understood that I told, "Hey, I'm breaking up with alcohol." I said, "Could we switch our hangouts to breakfasts?" And so I would see some of my best and most supportive friends for breakfast, maybe before work, where we're just it's inexpensive, there's no pressure to have drinks, and you're just gonna hype someone up and you're gonna feel amazing for the rest of the day. So even now, I still love meeting my friends for breakfast just because it gives you kind of like it just hypes you up and it's totally supportive and totally fun. And then you can go on with your day and do other things. So I guess I just feel like it was not what I it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Little things happen, people are very curious about it naturally,
Mhm.
and sometimes the people that are the most curious or the things that are kind of maybe the weirdest things to say are the ones that are really, really curious about it, or they know something or they're thinking something, for themselves, and so
Yeah.
it's just good to talk about, I guess.
That does sound nice though. Now I wanna pivot my hangouts to breakfast.
It's the way to be. And you know what? I used to like party at night. I don't even like going out at night anymore. And I didn't, like the things that you figure out about yourself. And it's like I saw a friend and I had a good day, and then I got in my sweatpants and watched Netflix.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, there is just nothing better than an early bedtime.
This is so true. It's so true.
Now, if this is, like, too personal a question, feel free to just shut me down, but was there, like, some kind of, final straw in deciding to seek that sobriety, or did you just wake up one day and you were like, "It's time, this is the right thing for me"?
I was making some silly mistakes, and I was getting to the point where I was trying moderation for a while, and it would work 1/3 of the time, and then the rules I made for myself wouldn't work, and then I would say something stupid or I would text something stupid, and it was a series. Actually, I stopped drinking for a year, and then I thought, "Oh, cool, maybe I'll just have a little wine," and then I did that 2 or 3 times, and then that didn't go well, and I just thought, "Oh, you know what? I'm done." And you know what? Just not not having to apologize, not having to not exactly remember what I said or why understand why someone's a little annoyed at me is, um, the most amazing feeling.
A weight off the shoulders, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. shoulders, yeah. So it was a series of bad decisions. And it wasn't one, it was many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That compound.
Yeah.
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 So your article is centered around this idea that you found Taoism. I would love to hear your journey with that, how you found it, how it plays a role in your life now.
Oh gosh. You know, well, I studied East Asian language and culture at Indiana University when I was in college 20 years ago.
That's so neat.
I've always loved just the idea of Taoism, and I guess maybe I identify as a witch, and Taoism fits really neatly into that because to me, I feel like what Taoism is that it's just the path of least resistance. It's very gentle, it's very
Mhm.
nature based. You could be a scholar of it forever, or you could learn a little bit about it and just really appreciate it as like a tenet of living very gently on the earth. It just really spoke to me finding sort of this new path and kind of it was a path back to myself, but also the path of least resistance to it's just it's a very peaceful. I'm not even really sure if you would consider it like a religion, or I mean, I believe it is a religion, but
Yeah.
yeah, if I could edit that part out. I'm dumb, but it is my religion.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it can take on a different role for people, right? Like it is a religion or it's a life path or it's a way of
Yes.
thinking, but it's all about how you structure it in your mind.
Yeah. I like reading about it, and it really resounds with me at this point in my life, in my mid-40s.
So tell me more about it. I'm so curious. Like you said, it's, the path of least resistance. It's a gentle way of living. Like,
Mhm.
wh-
It's about wellness. It's about doing your best. It's about it's there's really not a lot to it, but there is a lot to it. It's kind of like how deep do you want to go when
yeah,
really it's like a very gentle way of living on the earth where you appreciate nature and you're learning from nature. You're looking at a river and you're seeing how it flows so gently over rocks and leaves, and you're just kind of going with the flow. That's what it means to me.
it sounds absolutely lovely. So,
The more I like it.
yeah, yeah, it just sounds like a nice pivot, from
Mhm.
one kind of lifestyle to another, something more
When
calm and collected.
100%. Drinking alcohol for me, I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't, and I was really trying to hammer a square into a round peg. I just
Yeah.
there's so many pressures I didn't realize I was trying like the way that I would act or the things that I wanted were just so not in alignment, and I just feel so much more in alignment with my the essence of who I am these days, which is an amazing feeling. And that
Yeah.
could just be also because I'm in my mid-40s now, but I know that I couldn't have been here without the clarity of going alcohol free.
Yeah. So, on that vein, I don't want to get too much into it because I think we will talk more about what inspired it, how it got started, but you are the founder of a business.
Yes, with my sister, we own Loren's alcohol-free beverages, retail and distribution.
Ugh, amazing. So, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, but just, for our listeners to kind of entice them to go listen to our Patreon, what was like the elevator pitch?
Oh gosh. Well, we want to prove to Central Indiana that alcohol is not necessary to relax, celebrate, network, and have a good time.
Mm,
So we think of ourselves more as hosts than mixologists. We think our core values are wellness, privacy, curiosity, and inclusion because we believe that it's best practice to have something for everybody at your table. You don't know who's going to be on medication, who's struggling with sobriety, who's trying to start a family, and frankly, it's none of your business. But if you've got some alcohol and you've got some alcohol-free wine, or if you've got some other options for people besides like a water bottle, that is really a caring, loving thing to do. And there are so many fun drinks that exist right now outside of an alcohol-free beer and alcohol-free wine. We've got these drinks with adaptogens and functional mushrooms and ashwagandha and kava. There's just so many fun, sophisticated drinks to be drinking right now that it's the best time to be trying something new. And you know what? Most of our clientele still drinks. They're just trying to cut back, or they want to network with a clear head, or they want to something different during the weekdays and
Mhm.
drink wine on the weekends. I mean, 10 different people could come in for 10 different reasons, but there's something for everyone at this store because they're just fun drinks and they're delicious.
It sure sounds like it. I can't wait to hear more about it, but, we're gonna wrap up this episode of Let's Talk More on Monday. Before we go, let our listeners know how they can find you, how they can connect with you.
Oh, that's great. The best way to find us is on our website, which is www.lorensaf.com. You can see our everything that we sell in the store. You can sign up for a pickup order. You can sign up for delivery. If it says we don't deliver to your area, just send us an email and we will deliver to your area.
Amazing.
We've never told anybody no. So yeah, you can read about stuff. If you see things on Instagram, uh, because a lot of these NA companies are doing so well on social media, then look it up on our website and learn more about it, and we'll bring it out to you.
Awesome. Do you have any socials that you wanna plug?
Oh yes, our Instagram is Drink Lauren's AF, and we're on Facebook too.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Let's Talk More on Monday. And thank you guys for listening. Make sure to join us over on our Patreon where we're going to dig deeper with Andee. And if you save a seat with us, that means that you're supporting our internship program, which is so important to us at More to help young women learn how to make opportunities reachable for everyone, just the way that we're doing. So thank you so much for listening. And we will see you next week when we talk more on Monday again.